Hey, it's Delilah with an unboxing video for the samples of the special editions of Petition and Supplicant, and I am so excited to unbox these with you guys. These have come from the offset printer in China and they arrived on my doorstep yesterday. Now, what is inside this box is not a complete surprise because they did send me some photos and videos before they shipped it to me, but this is the first time I'll be seeing this in person, and so I'm very excited to get this opened. Couple of things to note as we open these. The main purpose of getting a sample copy is so we can check how the materials and finishes that I've picked out are going to look as a finished product. And since Petition and Supplicant basically have identical printing specifications, it's just Supplicant has a few extra features like interior character illustrations and a full color map insert. It didn't really make sense to produce two fully featured books. I made a judgment call and didn't get a fully featured sample for Petition. I did, however, get samples of the Petition dust jacket as well as the end papers, so we can kind of lay them on top of the sample copy of Supplicant and help us to visualize what the finished result for Petition is going to look like. And the character art prints are also in here as well. Now, just something to highlight with the sample copy is that because we are going to be producing the actual copies on an offset printer, that's a big machine that is very time consuming and expensive to set up, and it's the same amount of work whether you're printing one copy or a million copies. So for this reason, the sample copies have to be hand produced on a digital press and hand finished. And so there are going to be a couple of differences to the actual copies that you guys will get. Probably the most obvious is going to be in terms of the color. The digital press uses inks and a process that is able to produce slightly brighter colors, whereas the offset printing machine is going to be using a soy-based ink, and so the colors are going to come out a little bit more saturated. So just bear that in mind as we are going through and looking at these samples. I did forget to tell them one thing while we were getting the sample copies done, and that is I forgot to tell them which side of the dust jacket is the right side. So the printer used logic and folded the dust jackets in a way that you would expect a book to look when you pick it up. I have now fixed that. I've now told them that the first thing you should see when you unbox it is Rosemary's gorgeous art. Now the sample copy has come in this poly bag, but yours are actually going to come from the printer in shrink wrap. So the way these are getting signed and numbered is the printer is going to ship all of the tip-in pages to me. I'm going to hand sign and hand number them. I'm going to then ship them back to the printer, and then they are going to bind those tip-in pages with the rest of the book. Because of that, we are not going to be taking all of the books out of the shrink wrapping when we ship it to you, just so your copy arrives in the best condition. I'm just going to fold this jacket the other way so that we can get it onto the book in the right direction, and we are going to pretend that this is how yours is going to arrive. This looks so good. Look at that. I'm so happy with how this art has turned out. Always get really worried about blues and grays printing and printing as nice as they look on screen, but this just looks absolutely stunning. I'm so pleased with that. I did ask for a gloss finish on the cover just because the retail version has a gloss finish, but the art prints that I have are going to be a matte finish, so we can have a look at what that looks like and see whether or not we think maybe a matte finish on the jacket might be nicer. Front side of the dust jacket with Rosemary's art. On the reverse side, you're going to have the retail version on it. I'm just going to take this one off, and I'm going to put the jacket for Petition on just so you can get a sense of what that is going to look like. So this is not going to wrap all the way around because Supplicant is just a giant book. This is what it looks like for Petition. Here's the jacket for Petition. Again, gorgeous, and the reverse side with the retail design on it. That's the jacket. Now let's have a look at the foil leather case. Look at how awesome this turned out. This is just, it's amazing. I'm so pleased with how the holographic foil has turned out on the front, the spine, the back cover. It just looks gorgeous. And if you look at the edges, all of the gilded edges as well, like they're so nice and shiny and beautiful, and I'm just This has turned out so good, guys. I'm so excited. I'm so pleased. Because this is a sample, this has been manually like finished and like applied and finished by hand. The actual special editions will be foil stamped onto the faux leather, and so the foiling should hold up a little bit better and won't rub off as easily as on a sample copy. The faux leather material also feels really, really nice to touch. It's just, this is the part that I'm most excited to show you guys, because when Kirsten and I were doing the end paper designs, we mocked up a lot of different color combinations, and I mean, they were all kind of like fine, but none of them were really grabbing me. Just for kicks, I threw in a gold foil effect, and it was like, wow, that is the one. Since we changed to an offset printer, I asked, and they said, yes, we can absolutely put foil on the end papers, and so we are going to get foiled end papers on these special editions. Look at how gorgeous that is. Like, this is a gold holographic foil, which matches with the holographic foil on the front cover, but the gold just popped a little bit better on the colors on the end paper than the silver, and so that's why I've gone with the gold. It looks absolutely stunning. This design by Kirsten is going to be mirrored on the back, so there is foiling on the back end papers as well. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so happy we changed printers. Let me grab the ones for Petition. You can imagine what Petitions is going to look like. It would help if I actually put them in the right way. So imagine this is Petition. You take off the dust jacket. There is going to be a beautiful design of carp on the front, and then you're going to open it, and the end papers are going to have a matching design of the carp inside, as well as mirrored on the back, and it's just going to look absolutely stunning. Oh, I forgot. They also sent me this ribbon. Supplicant has a teal ribbon bookmark that matches with the teal kind of color background on the end papers, as well as the dust jacket. Petition is going to have this lovely coral red kind of bookmark that is going to match very well with the end papers, as well as the dust jacket. So what else? Okay, let me now actually show you guys the inside. The third stretch goal for the Kickstarter of Supplicant was a full color mapped by the one and only Fisherfolk. And guys, just you've seen how gorgeous this map is on your screens, but look at this. Look at this in person, in full color, inside the book. This is so cool. Oh my gosh, I am in love with this. We've got some part dividers here, as well as interior art and chapter headers. There are actually 3 pieces of interior art in here because you guys unlocked all those stretch goals. Here is the second piece. Again, just absolutely gorgeous. Finally, the third and final piece of interior art, and again, looks absolutely gorgeous in the book. The other thing I want to show you guys is all of the special editions will have Smith stone binding, and what that means is all of these pages are gathered together in signatures, and they are stitched together and then sewn and bound together. When you actually open this book, you will be able to see the stitching down here in the signatures. Not only is it going to make the book lie pretty much flat no matter where you are up to in the story, and which makes it a lot easier to read, the binding method is just a lot stronger, so you don't have to worry about this book falling apart. So in one of my Kickstarter updates, I talked about why I decided to change printers partway through. So this is the sample copy from the original printer. So now I'm going to show you a couple of things just side by side so that you can see them and understand why we made this decision. This was printed using a print on demand method, which means it lacks a lot of the features that we've just been through with the offset print version. It does, for example, have a reversible dust jacket. This is a matte finish. When I touch this, it feels, I don't know how else to describe it, but it feels like a kind of like squishy, rubbery kind of feeling, and I don't know that I'm a fan of that. The other issue is, even though you can print on the reverse side of the dust jacket, you guys can see there's like all this damage on the jacket just from where it has been folded over. And I think the reason for that is you can't actually get the reverse side of the dust jacket finish for whatever reasons. And so that is kind of going to be a problem. With the cases, you can only do a case laminate cover with a print-on-demand printer, so you can't get something like faux leather, which you can with an offset printer. And I mean, the case is fine. The foil on the case is also fine. This is digitally foiled, so it has a little bit of like a raised, embossed kind of effect. Embossed, debossed, I always get them mixed up, but it has like a raised kind of texture effect, which does look quite nice, and it is very shiny. But the biggest problem is when it comes to edges, you can do solid colored edges like this, or you can do a printed design on the edges, but the quality of the edge printing is it's not super great. Like, I don't know how easy this is to see on camera, but like for myself, when I look at this in person, the coloring is quite uneven. It doesn't have a premium feel to it in the way that I think special editions should have a premium feel. You can put head and tail bands on with ribbon bookmarks. That's not a problem. They do those features in there, again, fine. But the end papers. The end papers is where it really gets me. So you can have printed end papers on this, which looks very nice and is much nicer than just the plain white that you get with normal retail print-on-demand editions. But these are fake end papers. I don't know how else to describe it. If you look carefully at this, what you'll see is that in the middle of this art, there's like a big chunk of art missing. The design is not continuous. The reason for that is this is not one piece of paper. This is one piece of paper that has been cut into, and that's why the middle chunk of the art it's completely missing. Whereas if you look at the end papers for the offset printed version, this is one piece of paper that has been glued down to the cover board, and then there's a strip of glue that runs along the spine here to glue and attach the end paper to the text block. And that is what gives the book structural integrity, because there's a whole piece of paper like pulling this and attaching it to the covers. On this copy, you don't have that. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is just literally attached by the edge, and you can see that cut edge here all the way going down. So there is like nothing really holding this, because you see how this like just turns like that? There is nothing holding this text block to the cover, because this page, this end page, has been glued straight down to the cover board. Good, that's what it's supposed to do. But this is not one piece of paper with that. And there is no glue running down here to attach it to the text block, because I can just flip it like that. And you can see it's like starting to come apart at the top. With a book this size, like I was so scared to handle this, because I was just like, this is gonna break. And guess what? This morning, when I was taking this out to show you guys, this happened. It just came straight off the book. So yeah, that is the difference in quality between print-on-demand binding methods and offset printing. Actually, no, that's unfair. This is the retail hardcover of Supplicant, and it is again produced by a print-on-demand printer. But because this is just a standard retail edition, nothing is printed on here. And yet, it's still one piece of paper. It is not attached here in the same way that the offset printed version is attached, but nevertheless, if you look really close at how this is bound, there is actually another piece of paper, a short one, that runs down the edge of the text block, wraps around the spine, runs down the back edge of the text block. That's all glued together, right, to hold the text block together. And then that strip gets glued to the case. This end page gets glued to the boards and over that structural strip, and that's how you end up with this construction. That's how you end up with a book where if I open it, I'm not scared that this thing is going to fall apart. Whereas, yeah, that's why we change printers, because when you guys get these special editions and you unbox them, I want your reaction to be, oh my God, this is a beautiful book. as opposed to, oh my god, this thing is gonna fall apart. One last thing to show you guys, which is the character art prints. So these have turned out, again, absolutely gorgeous. I think Rosemary is a little worried about how dark the blacks have turned out here, because if you hold these side to side to the interior illustrations, you can see the art prints have turned out a lot blacker than what's in the book. So you can actually see there's a lot more of that detail in the interior illustrations as opposed to the actual art print. So we may need to tweak the files a little bit for that. Here's the second piece of character art side by side with the art print. And here's the third. I think my favorite thing about these art prints is arranging these like this. This tells you all you need to know about these three characters and their relationships with each other. That's it for this unboxing video. I'm so stoked with how these samples have turned out. I am going to just check in with my artists and make sure that they're happy with how all of their artwork has printed out in sample form. We might have to make a few tiny adjustments for things like the art prints if Rosemary isn't happy with how some of the detail is coming out. It's looking really great. I'm so pleased with how all of the selections have turned out, and I can't wait to get these special editions to you. The next update should come sometime in late April or early May. It just depends on how long we need to tweak the files for final print approval, but hopefully that will get done this week or early next week. And then from there, depending on the amount of jobs queued up in the production pipeline, this one will get slotted into the printer schedule, and then it takes about 30 days or so for actual print production. And once they're printed, we'll be getting some video proofs so that I can share those with you guys as they come off the production line. And yeah, once the printer is done with all of the quality checks, they will shrink wrap the books and send them out to myself and to Merrick Books in the US. For those of you in Australia or New Zealand, your special editions will be getting shipped to you from me. If you're elsewhere in the world, Merrick Books will be handling all of the fulfillment for your special editions, and we will talk about those details as we get closer to the books getting shipped out to you guys. Thank you so much for being patient, guys. I can't wait to get these to you and see them out in the world on your shelves. And if you were seeing these special editions for the first time through the magic of whatever algorithm and you want one of these, I am taking late pledges through my website. The link is going to be in the description. If you want a copy of these, you can pledge there, and I'll make sure your name gets on the list when these are sent out. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next update.